But for me, success means that you're happy. To achieve that, you need to feel good about yourself. You're gonna feel good about yourself if you're gonna wake up, you're gonna do the thing that you said, you're gonna read, you're gonna study, you're gonna move your body, you're gonna eat healthy, and don't give up. Because I hated yoga in the beginning. The good thing about happiness, you don't need anything. You just decide to be happy. That's the only thing. You just I want to be happy, I am happy.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Liberate Your Bliss. I'm Chelsea, your host. And today's conversation is a softer one, but no less powerful. Because Helena is a yogi and a conscious living guide whose work weaves together movement, mindfulness, and devotion to the earth. And this episode is for those who feel the call to slow down, to live in greater alignment with their body, values, and the rhythms of nature. We talk about embodiment not as something intense or dramatic, but as something woven into how we eat, how we breathe, how we move, and how we make choices every single day. So if you've been craving more simplicity, more presence, and integrity in your spiritual path, this conversation will land gently and deeply. Let's begin. Been dying to get to know you, actually, since coming from the path, you've got such an amazing and interesting vibe about you, and everybody raves about your classes. So tell me what brought you to Bali?
Well, I first came to Bali in 2016. It was just vacation. I instantly fall in love. Since I was 18, I knew I want to live in the island. But before I was visiting Hawaii and like this other side of the world. And when I was staying there for a while, I was just like, I knew I want to come back and live in Hawaii. But then my journey or whatever happened, destiny sent me to Asia. And I fall in love with Bali instantly. And the last day of my vacation, I got offered a job. So I went back to Europe, I quit everything, and I came back here. And for a few years, I was going like back and forth, like 6 months here, 6 months in Europe or somewhere else in the world. And I'm here, this is my third year, like permanent.
And what was the job that you got offered in Bali?
That was like a photo shooting for one surf camp because I used to also take pictures. It was my kind of therapy to stopping the time.
Interesting. A photographer?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you still do that?
No.
No. Now, what do you do?
Well, I am passing the teachings. I'm teaching yoga.
And the type of yoga that you do, though, is a little bit more unique.
Well, it depends. It's called Jiva Mukti Yoga. So it's a lineage from Ashtanga. But it basically is vinyasa class. But although we have a kind of structure and some rules that we follow in every class, so you would see some similarities in every class, but at the same time there is a freedom, so you can create always sequences, and it's fun. There is always like some meditation. There is always chanting. So I always have my harmonium there. We do some mantras or chanting yoga sutras. Dharma talks, Surya Namaskar, sequence, meditation, Shavasana. So there is like a structure, but it's not strict as Ashtanga.
And what got you into yoga in the first place?
But I was just thinking about it. My first yoga class actually I was very lucky. I was practicing first time when I was living in States, and it was in Yoga Works in Santa Monica, which was a studio of Chuck Miller. So I was very blessed and lucky to be practicing my first classes with amazing teachers like these guys. Although back in the days it was just movement, it was just physical. I mean, Madonna was doing it, everyone was doing it. I was 20, so I was just like, let's do yoga. But it was mostly just about be able to make a pretzel out of yourself because it looks cute. Not cute, it looked cool or something like that. Yeah, that was like my first entering into yoga. But then we already spoke about it. I hooked on Bikram yoga. Bikram. Very much, yeah, for a few years.
And what did you love about Bikram? What was different?
Strict rules, consistency, same sequence all the time, although the class is always different. I like in the Bikram that you were always going on the edge. I don't know if somebody of you were practicing Bikram. I know you said you did. It's for me, it was always love and hate relationships. I had like a month that I went every day, and then I could not almost a month enter the room. So it was always like kind of back and forth. And I don't know why, I just really liked it, the strictness. I think I just needed it at that moment.
Yeah, and you've said that a lot about that you like rules.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so tell me why.
I think especially with something as a yoga, which I consider as such a sacred thing. And now, don't get me wrong, there is so many lineages and so many beautiful teachers, and I heard many times, like, I like to do my style and my thing. I think I'm opposite in this way. I think somebody already made it so amazing, so I rather pass the teachings, and exactly how I learn it from my teacher, I'm gonna pass it on. And that's also one thing what I really like about Jivamukti, because the lineage. So I was studying with Juan Sierra. He was studying with Rima Rabat, and she was like studying with David Life and Sharon Gannon, who are the founders, and they were students from Patapi Joyce. So there's exactly like 3 or 4 people that leading to these gurus, and the trainings are so strict, so there's not so much information left out or changed or so on. So I like to know who told me that and why I'm teaching this, but at the same time, it's always good to know why. So not only like repeat it what somebody told you, but at the same time, I really like to honor the lineage, and I think it's just passing the teaching. So I don't want to be like, oh, I create my new style and it's cool, and I like the rules that it can stay same. We can remain it, so it's not gonna be changed over and over. So there's still the essence of
right,
what
the
it was.
original. I think it's really interesting that you say that, because even with energy work, where in the field I'm in, I see it get so diluted by people taking their opinion of how it should go and then shifting it and shifting it and shifting it. Whereas the way that I was taught about even Reiki was the sacredness of one candle. You don't even write the symbol down. Like, there's so much sacredness to how I was shown how that energy comes in, and I try to keep it that sacred. It's not write the symbol down on a piece of paper, go on ChatGPT, find out about Reiki and teach it. It's the embodiment of the original energy attunement that Master Ashui had on the mountain. And how can we keep it that profound so that as it comes down, it's not so diluted? Because I can tell you right now, I can tell if somebody is embodied in energy work or if they just went to a 2-hour training on a weekend. And it's like that discipline is so important, because how can you be embodied in something that's that sacred in, a 2-hour breathwork certification, right? It's like, it took me years to embody that frequency. I've been doing it 12 years, and then there's people on this island. They're like, oh, yep, here's this. And I'm like, that's not, it's not held in the way that, does that make sense? Yeah.
No, I totally understand, and I follow what you're saying. It's, especially these days when this wellness bubble got so big. And I remember back in the days, it was really with tattoo shops and barber shops, right? But now I feel it's yoga, matcha, breathwork, energy healing, all of this is just everywhere. Like everywhere. And you just pay 1,000 or 2,000 euros, and you become certified in like 2 weeks. And you don't even know the teachers who were teaching you, because you Google cheap yoga teacher training, Bali or whatever, and you get thousands of options, and you just click on it because maybe there is a food, accommodation. I mean, I understand it's good maybe as a starting point, but I was looking years for my teacher to choose to
because
to
it's
study with.
It's exactly. I always say the facilitator that you choose is so important. Like, if you come into my class and your body doesn't give you a fuck yes to surrender in, walk out of the room, right? Like, you should feel so safe to come in, and then you should be inspired by what I'm doing and want to learn what I'm teaching. It's not, I don't accept students that I haven't worked with for over a year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because how can there needs to be at least a foundation of understanding where you're going and that you really want to go this path, because it's not easy.
100%.
The enlightenment path is not, everybody talks about spirituality like it's rainbows and butterflies, like up in Ubud, and it's fucking not. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I understand.
Yeah. So with your yoga practice that you're doing now, what makes your class different than others, would you say?
What? Mm-hmm. Well, me.
Beautiful.
I mean, just share what only you can share. Like, put your story, put yourself in the teachings. Like, I have students coming, they actually came to Bali, and they were students of my teacher, Juan Sierra. and they told me like, wow, like I heard Juan. I saw him teaching, but in totally different way. So I definitely have a lot from him because I did like my apprenticeship with him, and this is also like a Jiva Mukti thing that we don't do like 300 hours and it's done. Like I did 800 hours and with one teacher, so it's like now you're ready to go. So,
And how long did that 800 hours take you?
well, I was first doing like these 300 hours in Italy. It was like a month and something. And then I moved to Germany, to Berlin, because Juan was at that time living there, but he's originally from Peru and now he lives back in Peru. But he was at that time in Berlin, so I moved there and I was there for a few months.
And disciplined.
Yeah. I was just talking to my friend because we were talking about this, like how quickly you can become a yoga teacher, but actually you can become certified, but not a yoga teacher. I told her like, I was hating yoga. Like imagine in Berlin when it's snowing, it's freezing. You wake up 5 a.m. You put on like 3 layers because public transportation is really expensive, and you're riding bike from Mitte to Kreuzberg or Neukölln, and you practicing, you teaching, you assisting, and then you're doing assignments, and it's every day and ongoing months. And I was just like, there were moments I was just like, I can't even practice. I don't know if I even like it anymore. It was just like, but because he was strict with me and he wanted the best out of me, so of course it was definitely worth it. Yeah, it was really intense times. And like
Right.
for me, the way I was able to make money, it was just only with the teachings and practicing like in front of cameras, because they having also this like you can practice online. So we got paid when we were practicing in front of the camera. So imagine like, oh, I need to make money, so you practice 2-3 classes and then teaching, and it's just like I'm done with yoga for a while.
But at the same time point, at least you can say that you've been kind of through that storm and you're embodied in what you're teaching. You've lived it.
Well, I survived it.
So yeah, right?
No, yeah, and then to go back, like what my class make a difference. As I said, it's me, and yeah, I'm passing what I learned, and I'm putting myself. And like I think what usually I get as a feedback, I think I'm funny. Talk about like, hey, I'm funny, I'm amazing. Definitely not. But I love stand-up comedies. I wanted to be stand-up comedian, and I'm watching a lot of stand-ups, and I'm trying to always throw at least 1 or 2 jokes in the class. So when it's get really hard and I like strong practice, I destroy them with a joke. So they're like, oh, okay, thank God we can laugh about it.
So you would say your classes are probably more advanced classes?
I don't like to say this word because people saying that, but just because they don't listen. I like Jiva Mukti Yoga, we call our classes open class, which is open to all levels. And I always give variations, always. And I'll say you can do this, or you can try this. Everyone go for the hardest option. But there are people who practice 2 months, and there are people who practice 10 years. And I want to satisfy all of you. And of course, for a person who practiced 10 years, the practice feels different than for a person who practiced 2 months and doing the same thing that the person who's practicing 10 years. But because we all bring ego to the mat, and I'll do that as well, it's like, I think it's just like human thing. So we're trying to do the best. So everyone always trying to do the hardest things. So then they say my classes are hard, but it's just because they don't listen to the body. And the body say like, hey, give me a break, like sit down. I always say, like, when I start practicing Mysore, the first classes, I was just sitting in the room in the corner in the shala. I was not practicing, just observing. Then I was just doing Surya Namaskar, then just few standing postures. But I was mostly sitting and observing. And I say they always in the class, like, if you don't know, just sit down and look with your eyes. I don't like to separate beginners and advanced, because I think even beginner can go to Mysore with humbleness, observation, and of course, I'm not going to go through whole sequence. I'm going to listen. I'm going to watch. I'm going to listen how they breathe. Like, what is this breath? What is this sound? And then, that's Ujjayi breath. So you slowly pick up things. And I always say, like, just keep your eyes open and look around. Not that, like, compare yourself to the others.
Right.
Because sometimes people say like, don't look what's happening next to your neighbor, practice on your mat. Yes, when you're in your zone. But when you take a break, I always say sit down and look around. Look at the person who practiced next to you, because that might be the person who practiced 10 years, and you can learn with your eyes. You can be like, oh, so he's putting the elbow here, so that's why he can twist more. That's interesting. Because I'm there to guide them. I never demo, I only talk, so they cannot look at me. So I'm looking at them and I'm doing assisting. And so that's why I always say, like, just take a break as much as you need to. But because humans are, I paid for the class, I'm going to do everything, then it becomes hard.
Well, that's the ego problem, like you said, and it's so true. You know,
We all have it.
We all have it.
I almost passed out in the Jivamukti Paris because my favorite teacher was teaching. I was just like, I'm not going to take a break. And then I black out and I was just like, oh, okay, maybe I should.
Yeah. So for people that have never done yoga before and they're interested in beginning, where would you say to start?
Just go to studio, look at the pictures of teachers, and who you think that might resonate with you, just go and try. And then try another teacher, and then another teacher. Try as much teachers as you can. And when you find somebody, stick to them. Some of them just, even they might be a great teachers, but they are just not the right fit for you. For me, I always say about myself, I'm like a coriander or olive, you know, like it's not the strawberry everyone likes. You either like my class or I'm gonna trigger you. I've had so many students told me like, oh, Helena, I hated you in the first class. I hated you. And then sometimes they keep coming and they change opinion, but sometimes they never come back.
And that's okay.
That's okay. Like, I'm gonna call you out if you're gonna have a phone in your hand. I'm sorry.
I hate that.
If you're gonna come late, I'm gonna tell you, just sit down and wait until we finish chanting. I'm gonna call, like, is it really that you could not make it, or it's just lack of discipline?
And you bring up discipline a lot.
Yeah?
I feel you do. You bring up discipline a lot, which is really interesting, right? I think it shows.
Isn't it one of the niyamas, right?
Well, but it also shows the importance of how of what, you know, respect and the sacredness and all of that, right? So I want to ask, you know, was discipline a big part of your childhood? Were you disciplined a lot?
I was not. I could do whatever I want. No, I could do whatever I want. I had really freedom. Yeah.
And did you not like that? Did you wish you had more discipline?
Definitely as a child, I love it. I could go anywhere. I could stay late night. I mean, now when I look at back, actually no, because if I would have a discipline, I would be a different person. So it is what it is.
Right.
So I did not have discipline, and I did not have it for a long time. Also during like my teenage and like being early, like 20s. But then I just put discipline in my life, and I think it come with yoga for 100% actually.
So you lived without discipline until 20, you would say.
Late 20s.
Late 20s. Yeah. So because I always see that what we end up valuing most in life is the thing that we were lacking, you know, in childhood that created whatever it was, and right?
Yeah, well, now that makes sense, yeah.
Right, yeah. So the discipline is so important, because without the discipline, what happened that led to the discipline? Because if we didn't be brought up with discipline, but then all of a sudden discipline is so important in the way that you hold yourself with your practice and the way you hold your students, it's become probably a big value for you.
Yeah, but because without discipline, I would not be where I am.
So, and yoga taught you that discipline.
Yes, 100%.
But where were you before yoga then?
Where?
Yeah.
In a big mess without discipline.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me more. Like, what was that like?
I definitely have a very good relationship with alcohol and with some substances that are, let's say, illegal or something like that. And I was very good at partying. That was one thing that I was excellent. That's why for me it was really hard to choose what I'm gonna do when I'm gonna choose a work, because I was just like, I'm just good at partying, you know, like what I'm gonna become. And there was definitely no discipline. I was running away from everything. And these substances, whatever it was, it just takes you away from being clear in your mind, and you just push all the pain away. But actually you're giving more pain to yourself. But you just numbing yourself that much that you don't care that you are in the pain.
Right. I mean, I was probably the best party girl. We could compete on who's the best party girl.
Oh, wow.
Chased.
Okay.
I chased drugs all around the world. passport stamps, cocaine benders Thursday to Monday. Wouldn't eat for 5 days, same outfit. I'd come out, Burgine,
Well, yeah.
the for Saturday,
we
Sundays.
might met somewhere.
Right? But in those days, I had no idea that I was running. But it was like this high that it was a perpetual high that I could never catch, Like it was never enough. And the next weekend, it was a little bit more and a little bit more. And I got to a point where I was like, Mondays, I wouldn't even be able to function. I would survive until Wednesday and then get right back on it again. But I felt so dead on the inside when I was actually alone. But when I had any drug in me or any alcohol, or I was surrounded by those party friends, I didn't have to feel the death of what I actually was feeling on the inside of my body.
Because you were a superhero at that moment.
Right?
So you just numb everything. And it was like, I don't want to say I lost a lot of years during that, because again, it shaped who I am. But it could definitely be short amount of time. But at the same time, I think that's also why I feel very young, like young soul, because these let's say 10 years when people usually start these I have a relationship, I'm starting business or family or whatever, I was just partying. And now when I'm talking to people, sometimes students or people I meet, and we talk, and how old are you? We're probably same age, and they're like, yeah, I'm 24. I'm just like, oh, okay, so no, we're not the same age.
How old are you?
I'm 37.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, 37.
88.
87. So
87.
I'm older.
Okay,
I'm older. But yeah, it's crazy to think back on those years. I wouldn't change anything now, but I think once I recognized that there was never going to be a high that was going to be enough, it was like the worst come down in my life, because where do you go from there? When you recognize, okay, everything that I want is outside of me and I feel nothing on the inside. That was the darkest nights of the soul that I ever had to sit with, was who am I?
And you can't sleep.
Nope. Nope. And it's a different kind of not sleeping, right? When the crippling anxiety is moving through the body and the dark thoughts and the suicidal ideation and all of it comes up. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And I think most of the world, when I talk to people and I'm like, what are you struggling with? They're like, oh, I can't sit home by myself. Well, that's a sign. I can't go out and be around people without being drunk or high. Well, that's a sign. What were the other things for you that were happening that you knew it was kind of getting out of control? How did you get to the point where you shifted it?
Well, there was never enough. There was not the stopping line. And I'm always not competing, but it was always I can stay longer, I can do more, I can consume more, and partying with the guys who are double my size. It's no, I can do the same. Yeah. So there was this kind of maybe Napoleon, I'm 158, so I was just always trying to look big or be big. So I think it was always just competition, being best at the thing that I'm best, and that moment it was partying. So, and then there was no way out, and then there was one moment that I think I almost kind of overdosed myself, and then I woke up the day after, and I was just okay, done.
Done, just like that, cold turkey.
I'm done. I turned vegan. I stopped drinking. Stopped doing drugs. I stopped smoking, everything. Unfortunately, only for a while. Then I flipped again because I was not strong enough, although the veganism stay. And yeah, there was few years going back and forth, but it was never going that far like before.
And the yoga must have really supported that, right? Because if we were putting, and I remember those days, putting all my energy into partying. And I used to call myself the captain of the drug Olympic squad. I would have eaten ecstasy tablets off the ground. I didn't give a fuck. Yeah. And then now I put all of that energy into learning how to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for you was yoga, right? So it's okay, cool. I'm gonna be the best at this.
Oh yeah, exactly. So for me, there was no plan B. I remember that in the teacher training, our teachers saying don't quit your job, take it slow. I was just no fucking way. There is no plan B. I'm gonna become like the best yoga teacher. I'm gonna put everything, and then I start collecting teacher trainings. I did this training. I did spiritual warrior and Jivamukti. I did rocket yoga. I did vinyasa. Then I did the 300 Jivamukti, and then 500 Jivamukti, and collecting like workshop or assisting. And I was just like, all my money I had, I was just putting into this. Except like before, it was partying and like traveling, like doing this all things, and then I just put everything into yoga.
Yeah. And are you still doing that?
Of course. Like, you should never stop learning.
Never. So the competition for yoga's got to be insane with how many yoga teachers there are on this island. Does it feel competitive to you?
It's
or
not
really?
competition. And I mean, I understand what you mean, because it's still business, and it's somebody who's doing the not competition. It is what it is. But I truly believe in yoga. There is no competition according, like nobody will teach ever like I teach.
Right.
So
you trust that the right clients are going to find you.
Exactly. Like I remember when I started, like it was for me. It really helped me to a little bit crack and break my ego, because when I come back from Berlin, I got all the knowledge and everything, and in Berlin there is like so many amazing teachers, so it's hard to stand out. But when I went back to Czech Republic, the Jivamukti yoga was still kind of in the beginning, and at that moment I was actually the only one who have these apprenticeship and all these things behind me, so my classes went very popular. They were like packed, and even though you don't want to, but of course then you start to feel like, oh, I'm really good, my classes are booked out, sometimes people can't even get in, and it brings up the ego, right? So, and then this amazing thing happened. I moved to Bali, and I went to all the studios, and nobody gave a shit about me. They were like, oh, new yoga teacher in Bali? Wow, like, no, we don't care. And I was just like, wait, but listen, it's different. And they're like, no, we don't care. We have so many yoga teachers every day texting us, I just got 200 hour, I just finished teacher training. And I'm just like, but it's not the same. But usually here, owners of the studios are not teachers. They're business people. So it's hard to explain them that it's not always the same. And then I started teaching in Serenity. Krishna gave me a chance. And then after I started teaching there, then other studios started reaching out. And suddenly I was teaching all over. I had like 17 classes a week. Overwhelming. And then I started focusing the energy only at the path, because that was the place where I felt most seen, and also the students who start going there were the one usually who live here, and I could take them from somewhere to somewhere. Like, for example, when I teach at the path and I was quoting Bhagavad Gita, or you do the right chant, the right moment, right quote, you can get people into tears because they really listen and they're emotionally there. But then in the other studio, I don't want to say the name, they're just like, you quote something and they're looking at you like, hey, when are we going to start moving, like stop talking Sanskrit, just do something. So I could feel that I don't belong to certain studios and I belong to PAP. And it's amazing. Like I see the same faces all over. And that makes me really happy.
It's so great, right? Because we're building community.
Yes, exactly.
In the beginning, I was driving up to Pyramids of Chi to hold space and that, and I'm the same. I'm only at the path now as well. What I want to create for me, and I'm sure you're the same, is like a place for people that have left a home to come to, that are trying to find their community and heal, right? Because everyone that's come to Bali, for the most part, is running from something. Right? Now, it can be running from, but also what if we created a space that they're running to, right? They're running to something as they're leaving something, so we can create that community for them to actually feel safe and come and grow and move through, right? I don't know, to me it feels more important than being everywhere, is being one place.
Oh, 100%. Like, I'm so happy that I did the decision that I quit everywhere else. And also for me, because I'm taking harmonium, which is this big instrument. I was always carrying, I looked like Quasimodo, and like my back was hurting. I was just like driving all over Canggu with like huge backpack, and just like, I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna stay to one space, and yeah. And actually, if you choose one space and you reduce the classes, I know sometimes it involved to not risk it, but like to put trust, because the less classes you teach, of course, you're gonna fail better the classes, because the right people will find you. So I told also a few of my friends, like, is this doesn't work for you and you just driving back and forth and you are like teaching there is two people all the time. I mean, I understand yoga starts from one person. I also had classes that when there were like one or two people, but at the same time, if it doesn't change the way you going there, then you need to let go.
And it might not be the right studio.
Exactly. It not might be the good match for you, and you just draining energy. And I know how it is when you're teaching at the wrong place where you don't fit. It just takes so much energy, and then you start questioning yourself, and you're like, oh, why is like, it's nothing to do with you. It's just
the wrong place. So what is your daily practice like with yoga?
I like to practice, I know it might sound a little bit narcissistic, but I have my online program and I like to practice my classes. First of all, I teach what I love. So I love practice what I teach. And when I practice with myself, then I'm like, oh, next time I could do this cue differently, because it might be a little bit confusing, especially for me, because I'm not demonstrating anything. So I need to be very precise with the words that I say. I need to be clean, short, and like don't do so much words around. Also, you need to find a little bit of steadiness and silence. So for me, practicing with myself, it helps me to, again, grow with my teachings. Or, of course, Ashtanga.
Yeah, beautiful. And what teachers are you inspired by at this moment? Do you have any?
Like right here in Bali? Like living here in Bali?
Or anywhere, really?
Well, like, of course, I don't want to say one and only, but Juan Sierra is an amazing teacher. I'm very lucky to call him also as my friend. And he's actually coming to Bali in March. They will be doing Shiva Mukti Yoga Spiritual Warrior teacher training at the Path, actually. So I'm very looking forward to practice with him.
And what kind of a training is that?
Spiritual Warrior, it's like a set sequence from Jiva Mukti Yoga. So in like 10 days, they will teach you this one sequence, and then you're like certified to teach only this one sequence. But it's amazing. In 1 hour, they just fit everything in it, even meditation, shavasana, everything is there. And it give you great start if you want to start teaching vinyasa. So you understand the sequencing, and then you can change, like, okay, I'm going to change this twist for this and this hip opener for this one, but you still have the structure of the class. So you don't just go and like put a shaker and just throw random asana that doesn't really work together. But
right.
A lot of people does that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's sometimes I feel a little resistant just going willy-nilly to choosing a yoga teacher, just because I've gone to some horrific energy healing sessions here where I'm like, at like, for example, at Udara, there's 100 people doing conscious connected breath with one facilitator. And it's like that, I'm like, this is not okay. This is not held in a way.
Their are very scary.
It's a very dark place. It doesn't.
But beautiful.
It's gorgeous, but it feels to me. So even with yoga, I imagine picking a facilitator is that important as well.
Oh, definitely.
And being able to like trust that you're not going to get injured doing some crazy move, Yeah.
But even though if you have a great teacher, if you just don't listen and you push, you're going to injure yourself anyway. I think teacher is there to guide you, but the work is on you.
Right.
And a lot of people don't really get that. They're like, oh, this is a good teacher. Like, they make me do this. It's like, no.
What are the other, so Ashtanga is one type of yoga. What are the other big, I know there's thousands, but what are the big ones that people are looking for mostly? for anyone that's new to yoga?
Well, mostly people go for like vinyasa, right? Vinyasa flow. So but when you say vinyasa, it's like everything could be vinyasa, you know? Like, for example, I'm teaching vinyasa, and my one of my best friends here, Teresa, she was also here. She also teach vinyasa, right? But if you take our 2 classes, it's totally different thing. So it's very broad name, right? And people like practice hatha because it's a little bit slower paced. Again, I don't really like to go by the name of the style or name of the class. Just go for your teacher. Because people asking me, oh, Helena, today you're teaching power flow, and yesterday was vinyasa, and now it's Jivamukti. I'm just like, don't worry about the name. It's me. Don't worry about the name. It's sometimes it needs to be like a marketing thing that you have different names, but just choose your teacher. And like, you know, like if I will go for Rohil, I don't care if it's a power flow or vinyasa or open level, because I know it's Rohil. I know the teacher and what he's going to deliver. And if it's going to be softer or stronger, that's just
kind of what happens
yeah,
that
it's
day.
just what can
It's so
happen.
funny. All 3 of my classes are probably the same class with a different name to try to bring people in and a different way in.
Yeah.
But it's all like energy healing is energy healing is energy healing. And whatever you're going to experience is perfect. And it's what you're meant to experience, regardless of what I say, do, touch. So moving forward for you, you teach retreats in Europe and yoga teacher training here.
Yes, I'm going to be part of the teacher training here in Bali at the pub, doing retreats sometimes here in Bali, sometimes in Europe. It's always like depends. But my favorite, the most favorite retreat, and it was just happening in August in the Czech Republic. It's at the Animal Sanctuary.
Tell me more. What is it like?
Well, you take 20 people, you bring them to Animal Sanctuary, you lock them in, and then... Well, I didn't say that about me before, but I used to be big in animal rights and like vegan activist and all these things. That's actually what brought me to Jivamukti Yoga, because the founders of Jivamukti Yoga, like David Life and Sharon Gannon, they were like big in animal rights, and they were a very good friend with Ingrid Newkirk, who is founder of PETA. So it was mainly also like, hey, ahimsa, you know, like don't harm others, you know, and animals, it's included, you know. So it was that what actually brought me to Jivamukti Yoga. And yeah, it's big part of me, veganism, because I'm vegan more than 15 years. It's already a little bit more, but I just stopped counting because I'm getting older and older. So I think it's like 16, 17 years. So from now, I have definitely different approach of sharing it. In the beginning, every vegan is toxic, right? Like you lost friends, you're gonna lose friends, you're gonna be annoying for everyone because you're just so upset what's happening with animals. And everyone who is vegan, they know what I'm talking about, because you just become so toxic for everyone. But it's not your fault, it's just because you're sad what's happening to the animals and you just wanna push to everyone. But it's unfortunately the worst way how you can share it. So now, my way sharing it, I take my students to Animal Sanctuary. We are there for like a weekend. We practice when we chant, you know, the big cows coming. They're in a big land where it's like sheep, goats, chickens, pigs, like all the animals that were lucky to be saved either from like the tracks that were going to slaughterhouses or from factory farms. Over there, I'm turning people vegan.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Because they get to know these animals, and they find out, oh, this cow has a name and personality. And then you see the other cow, and she's always hanging out with the goats because this cow thinks she's a goat. And then you see this, there's like 3 animals. It's like duck, rooster, and chicken. And they're like one weird group, and they're just like each other so much, always hang out together. And you really see that they all have personalities. And sometimes it's so crazy for me to understand, because if you have a pet at home, which a lot of people does, right? And when you have pet, you can see that they have emotions, they love you, and they have personalities. So all animals have that. So
you might be turning me vegan right now.
Maybe. No,
but I think, we're so disconnected from seeing that in society, right? Like, look at what we've done. We've put everybody in these big cement blocks in cities, so disconnected from nature, so disconnected from the animals. And it's just become like a factory, a program where, when we're 5 years old, we get thrown in school, sit in a desk and perform. And it's just not the way,
and it's not a fault of like I wasn't born vegan. I was raised in like meat eating family.
I was gonna say Prague. All I did was eat meat there. Of course, Prague in Germany.
I'm Eastern European, like we just ate like just meat, and if there was not meat, like, hey, give me some more meat. So I'm gonna burn in hell anyway. But I'm trying to work on my karma. It's just like the society and the program that we humans are put in. Like they move us away from what's happening, and I see this during these retreats. It's already the 5th year in a row that people like they are shocked because they first time saw adult pig, because they're like, oh my god, what's wrong with this pig, because the pig is massive. And I was just like, well, it's just adult because we kill all the pigs when they're 5 months, so you never seen the big pig and it's giant. And people are like, oh, we did not know. And then like, so it's just the disconnection, especially when you live in a city and you have work and you have like kids and you have like I don't know.
And you're programmed. You're programmed
exactly.
That fruit is bad and fruit is too much sugar and you need more protein and we need all this protein. Where are you going to get your protein from? Yeah.
Tofu. No, so
well, tofu. Can we talk tofu though for a second? Because tofu, what all I've seen is that they're making tofu from trash in Bali. Have you seen any of that?
No.
See, that was something that came in my feed, was that they're making tofu out of trash in Bali.
Yeah, I don't know about that. And,
I'm like, how about we just eat fruits and vegetables?
Exactly. You don't need to eat tofu to get your protein. There is like much more better sources, but I don't want to get into like a food lecture or something like that. But
no, but it's important because it matters to you. I feel as if this is actually really more your purpose in sharing your medicine is in animal rights.
100%.
I think that, to me, you've lit up more about this than you have about yoga even.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's definitely
So tell me
right.
more about it, about why and how, how that started. It feels really important.
The veganism?
Yeah, like when you decided, I'm not going to eat meat anymore.
Well, I think since I was a kid, I always wanted to be vegan, but I just loved the taste of the meat, and I was growing up in a meat eating family. Back in the days, it was like weird, right? But then when I moved to States and I turned vegan, actually what helped me there was this, there's this one video in YouTube. It's called The Best Speech Ever by Gary Yourofsky, who is amazing animal rights activist. After seeing that video, I was just like, okay, I'm ready. Then you should watch just like Earthlings or some other documentaries. They are very eye-opening. And that's actually brought me to Jivamukti Yoga, because they were so passionate about animal rights. And they put it the way that you can share it as being example, and like, just like, don't push it like, hey, stop eating meat, be vegan, this toxicity like that I mentioned already that vegans have. But share it through yoga, through compassion, and bring it more awareness and education about how it is. I think that's the way to do it. But yeah, I was like one of these people, like I broke into one like a dairy farm in Barcelona. I steal baby cow and all these things.
You did? Where'd you bring it?
To the sanctuary, of course.
Oh, I love
People
that.
don't know, but there's a lot of animal sanctuaries. There's also one in Sumatra, a big one. So there's a lot of people who already sense that, but it's just like,
I want to get back to that life. Like, I want to live on a hectare of land, plant my own crops, live with animals. Like, I want to get back to that. Like, I don't know what's happened in society that having a 100 square foot house, that costs 6,000 USD or euros is the life. Like, what about land and space and nature and trees and flowers? Like, when did we get so separate from nature and living from that way? Because of course, in that way, you become...
It's aparigraha, again, yoga. It's this greediness, money, power.
It's everywhere. And then looking at the world, right? Like even right now, there's this big spiritual movement happening, which I love. I got to be honest, like I love seeing people coming to Christ. If that's their way to get to God, amazing. I don't think that that's the way. I've been down that route. I got rebaptized last year. It was great. But to me, I don't believe that we're in purgatory waiting for heaven or hell. I think we're creating it right now.
Yeah.
But this movement, it's still more like this is the way, right? Like the Christian way, this is the way right now. And then if you're not this, you're going to go to hell. And it's like, no, how about all roads to God are beautiful? And then once you start to connect into spirit, you can start to at least see human beings. Like we've gotten so far from even seeing humanity, the suffering that's going on. There's a genocide happening and we're doing nothing.
Yeah.
Yet you're surprised that people are killing cows. I mean, look at what we're doing to humans too. The human race I know. We're done. We're like gone.
But I think these all hatreds, what's happening in the world, it's actually had the biggest issue and roots is actually how we treat animals. Because when you have a little kid, they don't care what color you are. They just play at the garden, right? Like they don't care if you whatever race. But then they go home and then suddenly something that it's living being and they will be like, oh, this is our cat. Like pet her that she's good. And then, oh, chicken, no, let's screw them. We're gonna eat them. So you already take two living beings which are beautiful and smart and have feelings, and you say one is better than the others.
I've never thought about that.
So you'd say, okay, cow, no, we're gonna rape her, take her baby, take the milk, and then eat her. But horse, oh, they're pretty, we're gonna keep them. So you already take something that are so similar, but you said this is better and this is worse. So I believe that speciesism, it's a beginning of racism, sexism, like all these, like I just believe what we do to animals, then we extend to humans. Because we say this is okay, and then you can think, oh, if this is okay with these living beings, maybe we are also better a race than the other race. I'm like, no, you're not.
Right, exactly. It's interesting how that all plays out, like this religion or this gender or this. And look at what's going on with gender. Nobody even wants to associate with any gender anymore. There's 7,000 because you don't want to be discriminated against. So you put yourself in some tiny, tiny, tiny little box instead of looking at like, no matter what gender you are, you're beautiful. No matter what race you are, we're all human beings. What I love about Bali is that you meet people from all walks of life. Tattoos, right? There you got tattoos, not tattoos. You go to America, it's like if you're a tattoo, you're a criminal. We're criminals in America.
I know, I used to live there.
So, right, you come to Bali and all of a sudden, you know, you're in like a healing space, and I've got somebody from Germany, from Singapore, from Hong Kong, and everybody emotionally is experiencing the same thing. Yeah. And we can be like, wow, we're all together. And when you think of that with even the animals, it's fascinating because I've been really upset lately at finding out that they're sacrificing dogs here, right? They're sacrificing dogs and eating dogs. Yeah. And I've opened a sanctuary called Joey's House, and I'm trying to get this all going. But I eat chickens.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So what is the difference, you know? And I can sit here and have this conversation humbly.
No, that's really nice from you, because when people tell me like, do you know they sacrifice dog? And I'm like, yes, I know they sacrifice pigs, they sacrifice chicken. Like, what's shocking? Why this is shocking and this is not shocking? Why taking life of this being that didn't want to die? It's more shocking than taking life of this being that didn't want to die. And pigs are way more smarter than dogs. Way more smarter than dogs.
But we're not. We've been programmed that dogs are okay.
I know, exactly. And
right? And cats are okay.
Exactly.
But we've been programmed since we were kids to eat, you know?
I know, yeah.
So I can understand that. Like, it's actually really hitting me in the feels, this conversation, because it feels true to my soul to have this. So I'm really grateful that you've been sharing that in a way that wasn't attacking me.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, maybe because 15 years ago the conversation would look different, but now I'm just like, you know.
Because you're right, it's being able to have that conversation of like, wow, that is so true, right? And now it's even, you're looking Palestine and in Israel and all of these things going on. It's like, well, this race doesn't matter, but you're right. And we're literally doing that with what we choose to eat every single day.
But that's exactly the same thing because, for example, for me being from like Eastern European, from like this little Czech country, and people who never left Czech Republic, they live in this bubble and they just consume media that what they gives you, right? And I was already living here and I was just like in Sumatra and I was calling my dad and he had like his neighbors there. And we put like on a video and they saw like me with like other people there and you can see according what they were wearing that they were Muslim. And they were like, oh my God, aren't you scared? And I was just like, excuse me, these are the sweetest people ever. And it's just because the media and because what was happening in the States and this, and they just took this religion, it's evil, and like you have no idea what you're talking about. And it's...
But the thing that's so hard is like, we can see that because we've had the opportunity to leave where we've been from and see the world from a different perspective. And
I feel very lucky for that.
I feel so lucky for that, right? And now like my family, they're like, I can't believe you're going to have children in another country. And I'm like, they're like, what about the hospitals there? I'm like, what do you think? Like my dad actually said the other day, they have movie theaters there. I'm like, yeah, what do you think I'm living, Yeah. Because it's true. It's, I don't know about what it's like in Czech Republic, but in America, the news is on from the morning people wake up until the time they go to sleep. And they have no idea that it's propaganda.
Yeah. And it's everything. It's locations of the world, nations, religions, animals, like everything. And it's just money and power. That's why we love yoga so much.
Because it's the opposite of that, right? It connects everybody.
Because yoga, when you really look, the word yoga, to yog, to unite. And the main, like, of course, you want to unite your thoughts, you want to stop the thinking, like according to the Patanjali Yoga Sutras and so on. What I see as the biggest gift is yoga, to bring people together. And when they talk about, of course, there is like a lot of like Hindu gods, but they talk about Ishvara is a God, right? But you choose your God. It could be Allah, it could be Muhammad, it could be Krishna, it could be Jesus, like whoever. It could be this plant if you planted it. It could be your dog, it could be your sister, it could be your neighbor, it could be ocean if you surf. Whatever, it makes you keep moving. It's your God. And that's what I love about yoga, because it's like choose something that's keep you going. Just dedicate your life to it and bring people together.
I got one interesting question for you that I want to ask. What do you think about how Christians or other people say that yoga is satanic? Have you ever heard that?
No.
And that yoga yoga is worshiping the devil. Have you heard that?
No, I have.
Okay,
I have not.
well, we can cut that part of this, but yeah, I find
that's maybe they saw yoga teachers like me, so they.
Yeah, but so they say like a new age that that us that are doing this energy work or doing that it's satanic if it's not written in the Bible.
Because you know that the only God is the one inside of you. I really like when David Live, the founder of Jivamukti Yoga, talk about concept of the guru. And of course, like when you look at the Sanskrit, it's a darkness remover. But he's saying like to understand the concept of the guru, you just need to spell it very slowly. G-U-R-U. No. And that's the satanic thing, because you don't need anyone.
No, it's really beautiful. Ram Dass always talks about the guru as well, and it's inside you. And I think when people come, and I think what you've said about your practice as well and how you teach, and that I don't demonstrate because I want to show you this is your practice with you, right? It's almost, I feel the same way. Like, don't pedestal me when you come to my class as if I'm any different than you. Trust me, I'm doing my healing work all the time. In order to step in that room and hold space for you, I look at the ugliest parts of myself that I hate on a very regular basis. Yeah. Because it's never over. And there's always new triggers and always new ways to love myself a little bit deeper. But I don't look outside of myself for that anymore, right? And it's but I think when you come to a class, and like even with yoga, it's probably similar. You're like, oh, I want to be like that teacher. When it's like, no, how about we make this practice about you? Yeah. About your inner guru and about your movement and what feels good to you.
Yeah. I really like, there was like one I was just saying this joke in the class because somebody was posting a thing on Instagram, like never compare your practice to a yoga teacher who lives in Bali and the only things what they do is like teaching two classes a day.
Right.
And it made me laugh because I was like, oh man, wow, they talk about me. Yes and no. So definitely never compare anything to, if you want to destroy the magic, just compare yourself to anyone. And it's the same with the practice.
And any other advice that you would give to somebody that may be struggling with addiction and partying and trying to find their way?
Just change the addiction for a better addiction, no matter if it's yoga, dancing, saving animals, or finding precious rocks in the mud, or I don't know, whatever could be your passion. I think just find a passion, whatever it is, and don't give up. Because I hated yoga in the beginning. It was pain. It was boring. It takes time to like something and create relationship. It's with everything. Like, don't give up. Like, because man, I was practicing like 3-4 years Bikram yoga. I hated it. So,
what made you do it then?
I don't know.
Discipline?
Probably. I just knew I feel good, but I was just like, I don't want to do it, but I feel great afterwards. But I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I don't want to do the work. I just want to be happy. I just want to, but unfortunately, it's not like that.
Right. And it's funny. Everybody wants the thing, right? They're like, I feel shit. I'm trapped. I'm stuck in my life. I hate my job. And I'm like, okay, well, if you want to do this, this, and this, you can get to happiness, freedom, abundance. But I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't want to show up for myself. I don't want to feel those feelings. I don't want to release that tension in my hips and in my neck. I'm good.
Yeah, there's this teacher, David Svensson. He's also a teacher of Juan. He's Ashtangi. And he said, I think this quote, it's very easy to make your life hard, but it's very hard to make it easy.
So couldn't agree more.
It's hard to make it easy, but it's very easy to make it hard. And it's with everything, you know, like there were days that I didn't want to go to a mat, when I didn't want to practice or I didn't want to go do anything. But I think discipline, again, we brought it up. It's just the instant pleasure will postpone the pleasure that you can really feel about how you feel about yourself. Because usually, I don't want to say successful people, because success could be misunderstood, that success means to be rich, have cars, a house, 5 kids, and I don't know, whatever success means. But for me, success means that you're happy. Yeah. And to achieve that, you need to feel good about yourself. And you're going to feel good about yourself if you're going to wake up, you're going to do the thing that you said, you're going to read, you're going to study, you're going to move your body, you're going to eat healthy. Of course, if you're still partying, go enjoy, have fun, but like, stop after 30.
Like, seriously though. But it's funny though, it's like, it's very simple things create happiness. Sunlight, getting outside, nature, spending time with animals, eating good food.
Animals, it's
everything.
A big thing.
Right? It's like, but instead we think it's how much money I make, how many clients I've gotten that day. And none of that does it. Because I got to tell you, even making $40K a month doing healing, it wasn't enough. And I got to a point where I was like, I don't want this life anymore. I want to do 3 classes a week, and I want to spend my time reading and sitting at the beach. And I'm okay maybe making a little bit less money to have a little more time to be.
There's never enough money.
Ever.
No matter how much you made, there is never going to be enough. I said this many times, like, I'm the poorest I've ever been, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. So don't compare happiness to the value of like money that you have in your bank account or whatever.
No, and I think money after you kind of get through that stage of like the poor part, it's also possible to then live in a state of happiness and attract in an easier way. But that tower has to crumble of the way we built our life before, which was perform, achieve, work hard, 40 hours a week, no rest, go to work when you're sick. And then you have to kind of go through that death of, you know what, I'm willing to give all of that up and be poor as fuck to be happy.
Yeah.
And then the money starts to come again. It just comes in a different way.
It's energy.
It comes, it's like,
always
I'm like,
coming.
wait, it can be this easy? Like I can just do one class and I can have 20 people join it and I don't have to do a one-on-one and save every person from their trauma. It can be easier.
Yeah.
But it's, if you've been programmed, just like the whole thing with the meat, it's like you have to unravel these programs over time, slowly, and find an easier way. So what is your bliss life then? And are you living it?
Bliss life?
Yeah. Like what's your bliss life?
Present moment. There's nothing else.
Right. And you're living it.
It's just the present moment. And it's, of course, people would say, oh, Helena, it's easy in Bali. It's easy if you... But at the same time, my mom, she's an amazing example. She can find beauty in everything. In a dark, gray day in Czech Republic, when it's no sunlight and no sun for like 3 months, she still can open the door and see like, oh wow, look at that leaf, look at that tree. It's beautiful. And she really see the beauty. So it's the good thing about happiness. You don't need anything. You just decide to be happy. That's the only thing. You just I want to be happy. I am happy. There is nothing on the outside. Of course, some things can make you pleasant, but you just decide to be happy.
Well, I think that's kind of a mic drop anyways, happiness is a decision in the present moment.
It's definitely a decision. It's if you decide to be happy, you're going to be happy. If you decide to be victim or if you decide to be this kind of a sad person, you're going to be sad.
So for anybody watching that's struggling to decide to be happy, what advice would you give them?
Well, it's very easy to say it than to do it. I can tell you that. So just don't give up.
Don't give up.
You got this.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining and thanks for sharing your story. It's really, really amazing.
Thank you for having me.
So to wrap that up, healing doesn't always come through intensity. Sometimes it comes through consistency and devotion. And if you're looking for that, remember, Soul Path Mastery teaches you how to live your healing, not just visit in a session. And if you feel called to guide others through conscious movement, lifestyle alignment, or spiritual embodiment, our teacher training offers a rooted ethical way to do that too. This work always starts with how you live and it expands from there. You'll find everything you need in the show notes below. So like or comment, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.